Yeah,
They're right underneath this.
we bought it at the right time. Now it's untouchable. Couldn't touch it. It's,
Well, it's good for you, though.
yeah,
Yeah, in case they have any questions. So you know, this is on Zoom, so that when you get to the discussion about the revaluation, she's on there in case anybody has questions.
So.
I gotta get some chairs out. Chase everybody out.
That's really grumpy.
Like a meeting real fast.
How many you got out there?
14.
I have some.
I'm leaving. It's like 14 people.
Lori, you ready? All right, good evening all. Welcome to the town board meeting. July 1. Six months went by already, so we got 6 more months. First thing on the agenda, I'm gonna open the meeting. Pledge allegiance, please rise and salute the flag. Pledge allegiance to the flag.
United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Councilman Morton. Councilwoman McMahon.
Here.
Councilman Hanlon.
Here.
Councilman Niles.
Here.
Supervisor Molino.
Here. Okay, unfortunately for everybody, I'm gonna have to ask you to leave for a few minutes. We need to go into an executive session. It shouldn't take long. We got chairs out in the hallway for you to sit in, so you don't have to stand. And it'll be about 5 minutes, maybe 10.
Need a motion.
Go this way if you would. There's.
Do you want to go to stand in
chairs.
the hallway here?
Still need to take a motion.
Yeah.
I make the motion to go into executive session.
He made
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, the first one that we have.
Everybody has.
Already on the agenda. Yeah. Station rate, hospital resolution. So we don't have to do that right away.
Are you all set, Chase?
Right.
He's all set.
Thank you for, I hate to have that
Do it all together.
just happen. Executive session. All right, so we'll move on. The next person on the agenda is Mike Schaefer.
You want a motion to-
What?
Make motions.
Go back
You want
in.
to make your motions to do the things you did in executive?
You want to do that first?
It's up to you guys.
I'd like to.
Fine.
I say yes.
All right, I'll need a motion for hiring the dog warden.
I make that motion.
Second.
In her name?
Florence, Converse. And she's continuing with what's in the budget, and we explained it to her.
Okay. And who made the motion? I'm sorry.
Annie.
Second,
James.
all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none carried.
We'll wait until the end for that. Can't let him go.
The end?
You want to do it now?
Language.
Yeah, you'll have to give me language.
So the language is to terminate the employee in the position of.
Transfer station.
Transfer station attendant.
Motion to terminate
The
the
second.
employee transfer station attendant.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none carried.
All right, we can move. All right, the next one,
Is it working, Chase?
Is that good or bad? Okay, good.
we also got to speak a little bit into these, so the people out in the audience can hear it. All right, we'll move to Mike Schaefer. Yep.
Yes.
Mike Schaefer, 7 Hendrick Road, Lake Luzerne. Thank you, board, for having me here this evening. I'm representing the Lake Luzerne Association, and they told me to be brief, so I wrote down about 3 to 4 minutes of stuff. I could talk a lot more, but this is going to be it. And this is our accomplishments just since the last month's board meeting. This is what we've accomplished. Our Conservation Education Committee, part of the association. First of all, we had the Warren County Soil and Water Divers. They did the first of 3 water surveys as per our permit agreement. Also, our first CSLAP outing, where we collected water samples and shipped them off to the lab in Syracuse for analysis, where we will get a full report. And hopefully by the winter time. We staffed a table at Riverfest. A lot of people stopped by. Thank you for hosting us there, Dean. And we brought a poster that our high school students had set up that we presented at the state conference, and got a lot of good vibes from that. We also set up an exhibit at our first Lake Day in Luzerne. We collaborated with others from our watershed area. We had a table staffed by a member from Warren County Soil and Water. We had a drawing, and we had a lot of kids stop by. We had a microscope set up, and they were looking at water samples from the lake, and good time was had up there by all. That was the day of the boat race, and that was our first one, so we'll continue that. The committee has also been involved with the Hadley Luzerne Library, kicking off their summer reading program. And we've been there, we were there Saturday. We continue to meet and involve also the high school students. We received a grant. And we will be pursuing probably 10 to 15 days out on the lake with the students that want to and will show up for us. Also, 3 of us on our committee also attended the Adirondack Lake Association Conference at Paul Smith College last weekend, where we spent the day learning about other lakes, and a lot of people telling us how great our lake was here. Quite a number of people are aware of what we've done and what we're doing. Coming up, we'll be hosting the Warren County it's a Alliance meeting in Lake Luzerne on July 9th. This is the first time this Adirondack Committee is meeting in Luzerne. And we will also be presenting in that meeting. Hopefully we'll have some students there as well to talk about the programs that they've done. And this is what we've done in the last month. And we've got a big month planned ahead of us from now till August. Any questions?
What time is that meeting?
Pardon?
What time is that meeting? 9?
10,
10,
10. Warren County Soil and Water Conservation District.
right. Usually bring 15, 20 people and
Yeah,
you have to register for that if you're
yeah,
paying.
they're having lunch, so they would like an RSVP if you want to stay for lunch.
Yeah.
Any questions for Mike?
Any results from the milfoil survey?
Just last year, oh, yes. The 2 divers found 2 plants, went down there first time. We spent a lot of time on the lake too. Yeah, we don't know where they came from, but they pulled them out and I've got them sealed in a safe someplace. They're not going back. Hopefully, we can keep it under control, and everything we've heard at these conferences is if you keep at it, if you keep on it, you should be okay.
Well,
So,
thank you, Mike, and your team for all you're doing, all you do for the school kids out on the boat, teaching about the lake. That's really
thank
good.
you.
Thank you, Mike.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Mike.
Mike.
Is there a Michael Reed here? Bring your bodyguard with you.
If I have any problems, she's can handle my problems for me. But I will do my best to resolve them civilly before bringing out the big guns. We live at, my name is Michael, it's my wife Rosary. We live at 1353 Lake Avenue, Lake Luzerne. We live at the corner of Perry Road and 9N.
Yeah, I was up there today.
And we have a pizza pie corner lot. We've observed that there's a safety issue. It's not so much a safety issue for us because we have had our own scares there. And know better not to turn out of there, but at the south side of Perry Road, turning onto 9N. The most susceptible person is, as you know, we live in a resort area. And so there's a very dangerous turn going southbound from Perry Road onto 9N. Like I said, those that don't know the area, such as even today and yesterday, we saw guests among our neighbors just have a very close call, and we're concerned that what we have seen will eventually result in someone either being seriously injured or dying, making that turn if there's not something to change. My bodyguard said I was being too passionate. But
I just wanted to add though, that he's saying neighbors. So our neighbors, the permanent residents of the motel, never actually exit that way. But they're guests from all different states. They exit that way. We don't, we've noticed none of the other permanent residents do, because we all know better. But it should be, in our opinion, as an inlet, not as an outlet.
And that suggestion has come from our discussions with the states, because it's a junction of a state road and a local road with engineer Matthew Green. It was his suggestion that when I brought to light these safety concerns, he thought it might be worthwhile a pursuance at the town level, considering Perry Road is a town road, to pursue the road as a one-way inlet in, which would make it impossible for someone to be in the position where they could have an accident. And on that note, we have a few, pieces of, I shouldn't say evidence, but illustrative purposes of what we have observed and what we know to be there. So as you might be able to see, if you squint well enough, is that as you approach the road from Perry Road, approaching 9N, you have a lot of, it's a very unkempt property over here. Again, it's sort of one of those issues where it's the no man's land between the state and the town, and then nobody does anything about it. And so it's very much overgrown here, but this is before you approach the stop sign. And then my next exhibit is once you do approach the stop or past the stop sign.
Yeah.
So the speed limit is 40 on 9N. And so again, also as this engineer has seconded in his observation, 40 means that the majority of people go 50 for the locals. Tourists surprisingly go
The speed limit.
oftentimes slower than the locals, but they come around 50 going northbound here. So this is technically more dangerous than the other way when you're going northbound, but still this also catches you off guard because then you're looking southbound, and then somebody comes just past the hill, and they sort of like teleport to kind of appear out of nowhere just past the hill. So it's precarious in either direction. I'd say more so southbound, but still equally as dangerous on the northbound there for a driver. And
You're also asking to make that a one-way.
correct, a one-way inlet.
Doesn't have to be a one-way. I
No.
would just suggest more or less like an inlet.
Once
But-
you do that road, you have to make it
Okay,
one-way or not.
I
I was
understand.
up there, I looked at it. Unfortunately, our road superintendent, who's in charge of our roads, was out yesterday and today. If I can catch him tomorrow, we'll go up and look at it, and we'll bring it back and mention it to the board.
Okay.
Okay, and then I just also wanted to piggyback, I know it's not technically a town concern, but we also believe that it would behoove the safety of the area as pertains to this concern. If the speed limit was 30,
Or
going
35.
past this, in this resort zone, say.
On 9N or in the
On
town?
9N, which I know is a state matter,
That's a state
and,
matter, yeah.
but
But
something
We
we
can,
sort of put in for the
we can
record.
look into it, but that's a
I
state
feel
matter.
like the town would have more power than just say us. I've seen 2 car accidents, and we've only lived there for 2 years. So I've run outside, I hear them, I woke up one time at 6 o'clock in the morning, people screaming. And, again, the turns are pretty rough. These were locals, they weren't tourists. For 2
So
people,
you're lucky they weren't doing 60.
again, yes. So.
All right, and as far as the one-way, which way would you have the exit?
So that
Entering it from 9N coming down south,
entering northbound
up, down, when you're going north, entering it that way. from
at the
one way.
southern entrance of Perry Road,
Right, yeah,
coming up
You
north,
can find Long Restaurant,
which
because
has
you
more
can
sight
see
distance. in either
totally up
direction.
left, and you can see
Yeah,
completely
like
to the
that.
right.
All right, we'll bring it, well, I'll talk to our road superintendent, that's part of his job, and then we'll work with him on it.
Is there a way of coming out?
Yeah.
Yes, it's
Okay.
a horseshoe
Like
type
horseshoe.
road. I drew it out here if you want to take a look.
Yeah.
I forgot to print it. And if you want, we can also leave these here. I took the pictures from inside of my car so
Yeah,
you can get a
It
realistic
comes
sort
out
of
where the
perspective.
old rustic was, comes out.
You obviously have copies.
Oh, yeah, you can keep these.
Here.
But I decided, I was like, I think if you take a look, it's kind of like, again,
Yeah, so the intersection that's causing the most trouble is the one closest to here.
Yes, correct.
yes.
You want to go in from the north side?
You see the little star?
Yeah.
But that's the entrance way that we suggest.
Going in.
Going in, correct.
Not
And then
not
the
by your
exit.
house then.
Yes.
Okay, at
Yes.
at the southern end.
We have heard so many horns blowing and everything else and tires
That's a
screeching.
tough spot there.
Well, let's-
It
you know.
is.
We got the bar right there, don't you?
Yeah,
Tires screeching, horns blowing, people
No,
leaving.
that's down the way. That's fine.
Well, that's not, yeah,
I'm talking like the car accidents there.
Right there's, yeah, that's the,
And.
and also,
there you go.
also another group of people we failed to mention would be the walkers
There's a lot of
going
people
from tavern to
walking.
tavern, say.
Right, so they go from Longhorn to the Nettle Meadow. And so they walk that distance there. And we see them all the time on that road during this type of season, you know, for the 2 months. And it's a very precarious stretch when you see them walking. I have, you know,
I've been up there, because I see this map, the southern part of that, where you got the star,
yeah,
that's a tough way out there,
yeah,
Yes,
to be honest with you.
Yeah.
you
because-
never exit that way,
Right.
yeah.
Cause you can't see the cars coming,
No.
I just went out that way yesterday.
no, you're doing Hail Mary when you go to the
Roll
community
down your
dogs.
window, even if you're gonna take a right.
I'll
you
bring
know,
it up with our
there's-
road superintendent, let's see, and you know, the state will have to, if we're gonna do anything with the state, we'll have to.
The state told us, it was Matthew Green when we spoke to him. And he said, that he has nothing to do with that. It's totally town level if it's an inlet or not.
Well, yeah, in regards to the speed limit.
Oh, yeah, the speed limit, it's
Just so you know, because we've gone through this for many years,
Sure,
we can put in a speed limit change.
and it doesn't mean it's gonna.
No, but it'll take 1 year,
Understood.
But, you know,
just so you know.
I get it, and
Well,
we still have to deal with a few more car accidents maybe till then, you know.
But I think that's a local road.
Pajamas, but-
That's one of our roads, and we should change the speed limit,
Now, also, would that interfere with the snowmobilers in the wintertime?
just on our.
No, but, oh, you mean making it as an inlet?
Mm-hmm.
So, because I don't think they really pertain to, I don't think they.
No, if anything, that would be safer
For
for,
them, not.
that's one
aggravating
less
that way.
direction for which that someone is turning, because the snowmobilers are often coming in that, they come in that entrance, so it's actually safer. When you ride a bike down the street, you ride with the flow of traffic, not against the flow of traffic.
All right, we'll look into it and get you some answers. I'll have our road center might be in tomorrow. I'm not sure if it took the whole week off, but
Do we know how to get a hold of these folks?
yeah, that's what I need here. You want to put a telephone number on here?
Sure.
Everyone,
Sure.
You can
I'll
just,
save her the trip.
all right, here. All right, if you want.
Oh, God, I have terrible handwriting.
What's the number?
631. 255.
2555?
Yep, 255. 0783. Thank you.
All right, Michael, right? Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, anybody here from Northwoods? All right. You're up, we'll give you some information that today we signed the paper for the bond.
No, no.
What do we know?
He's gonna give us a report.
I was sitting right there when I signed the paper for the guy.
The truck?
The truck bond, yes, it was a truck bond.
Oh, I thought that was, okay, sorry about that. Mary knows more than I do on that.
They signed a bond for a truck. But a truck?
A truck, yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Very different than a dam. So the engineer submitted the final map plan and report. We talked to them about secra. I believe it's a type 2, so we won't need a secra. And then we will just do a resolution to do the bond, which we've done 2 times prior for different things. We'll have to publish the estoppel notice. And we have to wait 20 days from the estoppel notice, but then we can borrow the money right after that.
So the timeline, I know that it has to be posted for a certain period of time, even though it's 20 days.
Yep.
And the timeline from now till that, do you have any ideas?
2 weeks
Oh.
until it's posted, and then we'll do the 20 days.
Okay.
No, well, now that the Post Star has their weird,
Yeah, it's.
how long does it take to?
You have to figure you have to submit it a week before
At
you want it
least,
posted at
yeah.
least.
So add a week to that.
Alright, so, but it's not like 6 months from
No,
now, because the dream is to start this work this year.
you can
The
also,
end.
okay, so like December?
Yeah, I mean,
Oh,
actually, it
okay.
turns out that winter is the best time to do this.
Oh, that's fine.
You're
then.
not
Yeah,
fighting.
yeah, great.
I apologize for that. I got confused. I don't know.
But they try to deliver a truck to you, don't take it.
Okay.
Thank you guys so much.
All right, you got your answers. Thank you. And now we'll open it to the public. Anybody have any questions or?
Not yet.
Open the public. Oh,
Millers?
Public
this is a
hearing.
public hearing for the
Local law.
all the parking, no parking. We did the whole thing around the town and we picked out a bunch of roads, especially down on the riverside. So this is just a public hearing. Anybody has any discussion on that?
Yeah.
It's parking signs. Yes. Come up. You gotta come up. Gotta come up. Gotta come up here, so we get your name and everything.
Richard Conway, I was here, I don't know, last year, I guess, maybe. Anyhow, I didn't realize you had a damn project going on at North Woods. I don't know if you remember my presentation. It was at the Climate Smart program. Apparently Josh Drainoff did not schedule his presentation here tonight. Remember I was talking to you about the regional capital district, regional planning?
Yeah.
Commission? I didn't get it back to anybody on that.
I never got information.
I emailed him and told him he had to get it,
Right,
follow through on that. Obviously, he didn't. But
okay.
anyhow, now, I don't know, Jim, if you remember, maybe you don't. They're talking about a
50-50.
low flow hydro systems. And Tom, you had done, I remember you mentioning doing a watershed assessment, something like that. This was like last year or whatever.
We did plant surveys.
Right. But you had mentioned you had been working with previously with NYSERDA.
40 years ago.
Whatever. Anyhow, one of the things that I've been looking at and trying to establish some a business plan forward is low flow hydro systems. And I'm just wondering if there's enough data flow curve, flow duration curve study in order to install a system, have it engineered and up and working. Where down at the outlet, like Luzerne, has plenty of outlet flows. I don't know what sort of whether it has any historical restrictions or anything on that. But if you're going ahead with the north, I don't know what the project is at the Northwoods Dam.
That's way at this end of the town.
Right, yes, I understand that. But I'm just wondering at this point in time, if you're going to revamp that dam at all, if it might be of interest to put in a hydro generation system on that.
It's
In any capacity.
just an observation of mine. I lived in Northwoods for a while. That dam, the water flow isn't there. It's seasonal at best.
Yeah,
Trickle in.
I kind of, that's my feeling. When I was working as a head of real estate license. We represented some properties in Northwoods. So that didn't really seem, well, my assessment, recollection, that it doesn't seem feasible. But I just wanted to bring that up anyhow, if that was any kind of consideration. And so that's my question or comment. But whatever.
Well, the best thing I can say to you, how about you get us your name, write it, not now, you come in and see me or one of the board members. With a plan for this stuff, so it's tough for us to remember everything you say. On what you'd like to do.
Well, I had,
This isn't a town project. He should talk to the people who live in that district.
Yeah.
Because we're just providing the funding, we're not
Yeah,
engineering this project.
good point.
So they would be the people to talk to.
There's
Right.
Rose Boyle just walked in, she runs
Uh-uh.
that.
But I did, provided a packet for everybody with a climate smart, community program. I don't know if you remember that, or if anybody even looked at it. All right.
Paperwork we.
Yeah,
But
all right.
that's Rose Boyle right in the end with the,
Yeah.
he said, she does a lot of that with that community, if you wanna sit with them and go over what you're talking about with them.
All right, sure.
Still on the public hearing, right?
We never open it, okay, I'd like to open the public hearing, okay. On the local law number 2. About the fines for parking, which we set up in the streets, and you know, put the signs on. Anybody, excuse me, anybody here? Interested on that local law? No comment?
Anybody on the internet? I see Melissa.
Oh, she's on for the next thing. I think.
Yeah.
That's all you got.
Close the hearing.
All right, well, I need a motion to close it
Can I
here.
make a motion? Close the hearing.
Second.
No, she's just waving.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none
You get to
carried.
you in a minute there, Melissa. Okay. This is Melissa, she's our assessor. We all got the letter that you should have it in your packet.
Yep.
But we all have this. Melissa wants a plan for the future. I'll just broadly say it, then you can tell them what it really is, but we do a town assessment about every 10 years, and we did one 10 years ago. So we're actually due for one. And why don't you speak? You know more about it than I do. Melissa.
Well, it's that our town is at 59% equalization rate, and it has been, or it will be 10 years next year. And I was actually approached by the Lake George assessor and the Bolton Landing assessor. They're in talks with the person that I gave you the bid for to do it themselves. And they asked me if we would be interested in joining in, just as assessors doing it at the same time. So I asked him to provide us a bid, and I don't know if you recall, he did a presentation for you guys last year sometime. So, I mean, does anyone have any questions about what it,
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, what?
We can look it up. Go ahead.
Does anyone have any questions about what a reassessment would entail? Or any other questions for me regarding it?
I think you should make it what it entails, because most of the board hasn't been here since the last one we did 10 years ago.
Well, every parcel would be reviewed again. Make sure that we have collect the data, which I do stay on top of. I must say, we're very good at reviewing open permits and making sure that I'm making sure that I value everything that comes in. So, I mean, I think we're pretty current on data, but the problem is that as time goes on, different things happen to create people who are underassessed and overassessed. And then you can begin to have an unfair or unequal role, and you don't want that, because people that are underassessed, other people have to make up the difference. So you want to get everyone back in line. And the ways that these things happen is for people who do things without permits. Certain areas might increase at a greater rate with the market than other areas. For instance, waterfront has increased at a greater rate in value than other areas. So things like that create an unequitable role. And so we just want to bring everything back to a more equal role. That's what we're looking to do.
All right, just a quick comment, what Melissa's looking for from the board. We have to have something, a resolution by August first. So that we can have the reassessment of all the town, all the homes and businesses in town ready for 2027. Am I saying that right?
Well, if we want to move forward with 2027, I would have to let the state know and they would do a utility advisory. And that their deadline is August 1st for that. I've never done one myself, so I don't know exactly the timeline yet. I'll learn it, but that's what I've been told, is that we want to know by August 1st to do it in 2027. And it's a 2-year process, the collecting of the data and sending out letters and whatnot. It's a long process. So if you don't want to make that decision now, then you can maybe shoot for one in 2028. Either way, the person that I had do the bid, he would do either 2027 or 2028, depending on what you want. What I've been seeing in the market is that we've been going down somewhere between 8 to 10 numbers each year. So like we went from we were at 100 for like 4 years, and then we dropped to the 90s, and then the 80s, and then the 70s, and then the 60s. So the market has been increasing, sales have been increasing at a drastic rate. So that's really why we're looking to do one, because we're way off now. People's assessments are essentially going to double.
That doesn't sound good.
No.
Well,
That doesn't-
it's scary, but
That
I
doesn't mean
try to
taxes
tell.
double.
No,
I try to
it's a-
tell, no, I try to tell everyone that comes into my office and explain it. It's like a portion of a pie. You have to think about a pie. If everyone is going to go up about the same amount, your portion is going to stay the same unless you're underassessed or overassessed. So if you're about where you should be and your assessment, when we go up to 100 doubles, you've still got the same portion of the big pie. And plus, not only that, the values, when our value goes up, our tax rates go down. So it's scary in essence, but it's not really, it's not as scary as it will look.
Last time we did it 10 years ago, Dean Ream explained it to me the simple way. Some will go up a little, some will go down a little, and the rest will stay in the middle.
That's exactly right. It's like that
And
chalk
to
line.
make everybody
Snap it.
understand what happens, yeah.
Yeah,
Not
because-
everybody will go up, or not everybody.
Which ones tend to go up the most? The ones that are recently sold? I mean, the ones that don't go up the most, the ones that recently went through a realtor, like a recent selling for appraisal?
No, because we don't spot assess that, we don't reassess something just because it's sold. There has to be a trend. So it's not ethical for an assessor to just change assessment upon one sale. It has to be a trend in the market. So the ones that are, I think the ones that'll go up are the ones pretty much waterfront, because their values have sold at higher rates, at higher amounts at a faster rate than people off the waterfront. So theirs will probably go up a little. And any other kind of trend that the market is showing, that's what we'll see. And people who have done work and we didn't get a permit, we don't know about it, we'll find those things like that. Yeah, so we just want to try to bring everyone back to where they should be to create the most equitable role that we can.
The other goal, and you and I were talking, Melissa.
What was that?
That these statistics that would be generated by reassessment can help us with some other things. As to how we look compared to other towns and so on and so forth. Can you explain that a little bit?
I'm not really sure what you mean statistics. Wise, we are one of the lower towns in our equalization rate, if that's what you're asking. I know there is one town, I believe it's Stony Creek, who hasn't done a reval ever that I know of, and they're at like 0.04 5%, something like that, something crazy. But most of the towns are above us. I think there's only Stony Creek and maybe one other that is lower than us. Is that what you mean?
Yeah,
Yeah, I have them at work. I have them in my office. I could show you what every town is.
Let me throw my 2 cents. It's what we're talking about here is reassessing properties. Nobody likes it. I don't like it. I have a couple homes too. But towns run budgets on what we get in from the taxpayers. And we're really low. We're one of the lowest towns. And I think it's time, it's been 10 years. It's got to be rearranged so we get, what happens, yes, you might pay a little more in taxes, but you won't pay, we'll have more money to do the budget, so the budgets won't go crazy every year. And
I
we try to keep it, we can only raise the budget 2% anyway. That's the law in the state of New York. So,
Are you referring to the, I can't think of the word, the money you get from Octax?
no, has nothing to do with, this is the tax that we
Property
get
tax.
from the property tax that we make our budget with.
The
We don't
budget
make
is a
anything in
different,
town.
the
We
budget
don't
is a
sell
different,
anything.
yeah, the budget is a different entity than assessing value property. We really have nothing to do with your budget. So we are just in control of what the value of the parcels are, and therefore what the portions of each parcel has of that budget. But we don't affect,
Well,
we affect the tax rate in the sense
tax
that
rate, right.
is in the sense that the tax rate should go down because the value goes up.
I don't know if everybody understands what she's saying. It's very unclear, actually.
And how much are we?
Basically, right now, everybody's
Probably
assessor for your property. Well,
Can we not do question and answer?
Yeah, this is not gonna work out good here.
All night.
Not gonna work out good here.
okay. Anyway, it's up to this board to either make a motion to move this for August 1st, so that it'll be done by August of 2022, 27.
And if we moved forward with one thing that we would be doing is trying to give a presentation to the public, try to communicate, make sure that people do understand what a reval entails. So we would do that.
Well, we should do that on an agenda night then, maybe. Have the public come in. There's a lot of people don't understand this.
Well, if you're not gonna do it, it's pointless. Why don't you decide if you're gonna do it first?
Yeah, well, it should be done. It's over 10 years. We do it, try to do it every
Oh,
day.
there you go. Make a motion.
So right here,
Second.
the deadline is the August 1st to put in a motion to go ahead with it.
Yeah.
And it'll all be done in 2026, and it'll come out and start in 2027.
Yeah, I made a motion. Dane seconded.
Thank you. All in favor?
All right.
Opposed? Hearing none carried.
But we'll try to have something come up that we'll have a meeting on it to make everybody understand what's going on. All right. Thank you, Melissa.
You're welcome.
thanks, Melissa.
Thanks. We're gonna have a colleague. Okay, the next one is the transfer station. You will have in your packet. We have to raise the price of tires. Because it's costing us more and more money to get rid of tires. And right now, we're getting $5 for a 13 to 16 size tires. They asked to go up to $8 because that's what the running weight rate is. Medium sized tire is $7. We got to move it to 10. And a large tire plus $10, we got to move it to 15. Because this is what it's costing us to get them out of the transfer station. Not that we're doing this to make money.
I make a motion.
I second.
And
Go ahead.
also,
With-
a while back, you talked about raising the rate
Yeah,
for dumping. I don't know if you want to include that in here
we're gonna put that in the agenda meeting next.
for next time. Okay.
Because I gotta talk to the guys. We've gotta move, we have to raise the rate. Rate is about 8 cents a pound now. We're about the lowest in the area, so we gotta move that up. Because it's starting to cost us more money to get rid of the stuff that we're charging 8 cents. Because getting out of the transfer stations, those monies have been going up $50 to $80 a ton.
Are we also gonna make part of this motion, the other recommendation, which is to not accept truck tires?
Large truck.
Large truck drivers.
How are you gonna determine what that is?
Yeah, well, you know when they're large, but I'd like to not take them.
Say
because-
commercial.
Yeah, because if you do that and you don't take them, you're gonna find them on the side of your road. At least you'll get some money for them when they come in.
Who made the motion?
I didn't make a motion on that.
Should we,
Project.
set a price then for the larger truck tires?
I think they're up to $20 for large truck tires now.
That's what we paid.
That's what we pay to get rid of them.
Says we were billed, yeah.
But there's nothing suggested here for a price for truck tires,
Yeah.
and down in the narrative, it says, and I recommend we don't accept truck tires.
Well, that's because it's hard to get rid of them. It's expensive.
But if you don't accept them, they're gonna end up somewhere. Where would they end up?
Back streets. Up to you, you know, we have to raise 8, 10, and 15 to what's now 5, 7, and 10. That's the motion that's on the board right now. I want to hold off on talking more about it on truck tires. We can hold off a couple of weeks.
Just pay 25 per tire to get rid of.
What's that?
I just pay 25 per tire to get rid of some larger truck tires,
Yeah.
bus tires.
Buses, yeah.
You know what size they were?
Truck tires.
No, they're truck tires.
10, I couldn't tell you, 10, 22.5, 10 R
I think we
22.5,
need to be that specific in this,
no. Just large
but I
truck
think we
tires.
should add in large truck tires,
Right here.
$5.
It's right here. So right, he's recommending $20 for large truck tires.
If it costs them 25 to get rid of them, I'd say 25. I don't wanna have it
It'll
cost.
cover us for a little bit.
Now, he's recommended not to take the truck drivers or the truck tires.
We're not gonna, we don't want them on the side of the road, so we're going to take
Yeah.
them, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so 25, if it costs him 25 to get rid of his, there's the price.
All right. Everybody's in
So
favor
I
of
add
that.
that to your motion.
That's your motion.
Yes, sounds great. That sounds good.
Who made the motion?
I do.
Second?
I'll second it. Yeah, I did, didn't I?
Yeah, I think.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none carried.
Okay. Nothing for the public. Anybody has any questions or want to ask any questions, good or bad? Come up front.
It's actually not for asking questions, it's
No.
public comment. So if you have a comment about what's on the agenda, don't. I would like to say something. On the
Yes.
agenda, I just heard about the assessment. I used to do real estate, I had a real estate license for a few years. And from the trends that I had seen with the market as of recently, the market's starting to simmer down and come down slightly. And with the way that the market trends, it might be better off Lake Luzerne waiting 1 year to see before, I know the assessment, they said they would be done in 2026. But it's still quite close, you know, and assuming
I think it was
that the market,
27, wasn't it?
2027, I think the amount would be imposed, right?
2027. So we have to
Right,
do in 26.
But the assessment would be done in 2026.
Right.
So my point is this, let's just say that the assessment is done in 2026, but 2026, the market really starts to bottom out. And then everybody's stuck paying higher taxes for the next 10 years. I'm just saying.
We really don't know that though.
Yeah,
That's
Yeah.
reading tea
That's
leaves.
an if. That's an if.
I know it is, and I just thought I'd throw that out there because she
We
said,
haven't done it in 10 years. We try to do it every 10 years.
I understand,
You
and I
know,
understand the point.
It's,
I've seen very low stuff, but I think, you
The
know,
amount of tax paid is an assessment times tax rate.
right,
Tax rate is set. We do the budget.
right. I understand, and I know how it affects the budget in the town. I do understand that, but I just thought I'd throw that out there.
okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Is there someone, like Miller here tonight? I've invited you to come here tonight. Yes, you,
Yeah,
Yes.
that's what we're on now, because you weren't, if you were up here, if you would have called earlier, I would have put you up here and had.
yeah, I forgot to inform you guys.
All right, come on up.
Yeah, I informed him to come tonight.
Got some handouts for the board. My name is Therian Miller. I own property on 10 Church Street with my wife. In the town of Lake Luzerne. I'm a resident of Corinth. I am the village mayor.
Uh-oh, we're in trouble now. This is the
Thank you.
water problem.
Thank you, sir.
Wait, so this has nothing to do with legislation? Cause that's what we're on.
That's what I just said.
This is open to the public.
No, we're not
Legislation.
on legislation only.
I can wait.
I invited them to come here and talk tonight.
I understand. So that would be floor open to the public at the end.
Is that what we were doing?
Oh. Legislation only in the beginning.
Okay, so we'll keep this right here and then we'll get back to
You get
the
that.
pillars. Sorry about that. It'll take us a minute.
Anybody else on the, for anything legislative reasons?
While I'm standing here, one thing I noticed that your assessor mentioned that the tax levy or tax rate could go down if. The assessments went up. That's not a true statement. That might happen and might not happen. So that's a falsehood to give people the thought that the tax rate might go down. Because as you said, Mr. Niles, it's you know.
Well, I think he's talking about a cumulative. Some might go up, some might go down.
Oh, that's the assessment. I'm talking about the tax levy that you set with the budget. It might not go down.
They haven't gone down in a lot of years. but-
Right. So that means. People
Gonna go up.
paying more tax.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay, what are we on now? What do you want to do? What are we doing here? You get confused.
Proposed resolution to pay the bills of the 12th abstract of 2025 as presented. General fund vouchers 5157 to 5179, $32,664.32. Highway fund voucher 5180, $2,435.07. SW1 Water District Fund vouchers 5181 to 5182, $50.05. Do I have a motion?
Make a motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none carried. Minutes, I did them, but I never gave them to you, so we'll do those at the agenda meeting, okay? Sorry about that. Proposed resolution to adopt the local law number 2 for 2025.
And local law number 2 was what? The parking?
Setting the fine.
I make a motion.
It's an entirely redone law,
Right, all,
just the fine.
all the streets, including River Road, and it changes the fine as well.
Correct.
Yes, I make a motion.
I'll second it.
Okay. Councilman Morton, Councilwoman McMahon,
Yes.
Councilman Hanlon,
Yes.
Councilman Niles.
Yes,
Supervisor Molino.
Yes.
Proposed resolution to accept the quote estimate for the construction and installation of the playground in the amount of $213,074.73 to be paid for with funds from grants received and individual donations, and to enter into an agreement with Compan Let's Play for the same.
I'll make that motion with a little explanation if you guys would like it. We got a revised quote from Contan. We took the benches out because the school is gonna build the benches, so the revised quote is $213,074, which is actually lower than the quote 2 years ago. We have raised, including the grant, we have raised $215,000. So we have enough money to build the playground. There's a couple of little hurdles we still have to get over. However, on the good news side, DEC and APA are not asking for us for a permit. We got letters from them saying so. we still have two more fundraisers that we're gonna do. Which are guesstimated to raise probably 10 or 12,000 more. To date, we've collected $66,025 from pledges. And we have another 24,000 to collect on pledges. That's part of the total. Those are solid pledges. 15,000 is our local Lions Club. They're just waiting for one of their CDs to mature. They say it'll mature this summer. 5,000 is our own occupancy tax here. 2,000 is Mr. Passarelli. We all know his generosity. You're sitting in it for one thing. So those are pretty sure pledges. The material for the playground is going to take 90 days to get it. If I don't want to put pressure on it, this is the wrong decision tonight, it's the wrong decision. I don't think it is, but we need to order this stuff now if we can, so that we can start construction in October. It'll take about 30 days to construct it. So therefore I make that motion.
A second.
All in favor?
All right,
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none carried.
that's the playground, if anybody's wondering in the picture.
We're on to reports.
Okay, highway superintendent is not here. Zoning,
Okay, I distributed today the zoning report for the month of June. You all should have that in your email. We still need an alternate for the planning board. So if you can put, if you know of anyone, let them know to turn in an application to the town board, but through the town clerk's office. Matt Powich has submitted on the grant for the zoning update, the June project status form. And the RFP is being put,
It's out.
it is out,
It'll be in the paper. The
The
earliest
third.
is the 3rd,
right, it's going in the 3rd.
but it is up on the website.
Okay. The other couple of things that I had sent you an email that I'd received in a letter from T-Mobile, who was looking to put some antennas on the tower on the property that we own where the water tower is. And there's an APA form in there that I generally fill out for anyone doing an APA project, and I can do that. But in the packet, which I sent to you, is a letter that they would like Supervisor Molino to sign off on, that as owner of the property, the town is okay with them moving forward with this project. In talking to Supervisor Molino about that, he mentioned that the town gets revenue from there's an agreement with Saratoga County EMS and the town of Lake Luzerne to share the revenue that is generated off of this tower. And someone needed to check to make sure that we were going to get this additional revenue. And so I don't know who has looked into that, but that's where it stands. But I was looking to have a resolution to allow Supervisor Molino to sign this form, but you're gonna have to decide whether you want to do that or look into making sure that we're gonna get the revenue that generated.
that's what I told, I think we should call them and have one of their representatives here to, find out,
Agenda.
so they know that there's a fee, we get a share of anything that comes off that
Well,
tower.
Is that the direction that you want me to go, is to get
Yeah,
back to
You have
this?
to get somebody in here.
Okay,
Just to say yes to them now, we gotta make sure they see what.
well, I haven't, I'll contact the person.
Yeah,
that
this
sent
came
me
in
the-
yesterday, so,
Yeah.
but, all the ones that are up there, AT&T's up there now, and, Verizon, both of them pay, and I don't have it in front of me, but in the neighborhood of 20,000 to use that tower. So that's why we gotta get them in to talk to them about that.
And the only other item that I have, and I haven't spoken with the attorney about this, is the issue that is in front of the planning board with the property on Hudson Heights trying to do a boundary line adjustment that involves the turnaround area of the road. Do we want to get into that? Or not? I had sent you an email.
I know. I mean, so there are a couple choices. I guess depends on how important that turnaround is, but, frankly, I don't have an opinion on whether or not it breaks the property owner's contract. That's not really my problem. But if she's not still willing to give the town an easement, then our only option is to go to court and get a judgment that says we've owned it for 10 years, we've maintained it for 10 years, and it's the town's. But if it's not that important to the town, then we just let it go.
I believe Ron said it was pretty important. Yeah, so it's gonna be an issue. So that's our decision,
So
our
I
next
would
move, I guess, right?
suggest at least giving me authorization to commence a lawsuit. Doesn't mean I have to. But if they're not willing to negotiate, then I have the authority to do it.
Anybody have opinion?
How bad do you want the turnaround?
Ron says
I
he,
think with having, we should have Ron here saying that
Yeah.
it is
Yeah.
required.
why don't we just put that off till I get Ron in here, make sure it's important enough for him. We don't have to do it right this minute.
Cause I remember him saying it was
Well,
pretty
so we
important, but
tabled
I'd like
this
to have it here.
twice at planning board, and his attorney came last time.
Mhm.
And told the board that they don't have authority to table it, so I think we need to deal with it.
All right.
Okay,
I'm not
so the
saying
best
that-
in your recollection, Ron is saying it is something that is.
He said he could not plow without that turnaround. I
that
mean,
is
so I guess
pretty
the other
important.
option is they don't get their road plowed. But that's again up to them.
Authorize you to commence a lawsuit if necessary. I second it.
That's all I have.
Lori, you want to say all in favor?
I'm writing it, yes, just a second. Commence a lawsuit.
To establish right away. On what road is it?
Hudson Heights Drive.
Is that one? There's no way around this. There's no way around it. Any other line over here. It's not gonna work.
All in favor? Opposed? Hearing none carried.
That's all I have.
All right. Councilman Martin?
Yeah, I just have one thing. I got an email from the new grant writer that we hired at the last meeting. Regarding funding opportunities for the bike park. Deadline for applications for this possible grant opportunity is July 31st. So I wanted to make a motion to allow him to apply for this grant application or grant funding.
I'll second it if you want. Just let them know with.
You want to read that, Lori? Please.
Want me to?
Yeah, please.
Resolution to apply for funding under the latest round of the consolidated funding applications, whereas New York State has begun soliciting for grant applications under the latest round of consolidated funding applications. Whereas the town of Luzerne is seeking to submit funding applications for development of a mountain bike trail. And whereas applications are due by July 31st. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board hereby authorizes submission of the various grant applications through CFA.
I'll second it.
I think Jean did.
Oh, did you do that already? Okay,
So
sorry.
Councilman Morton and Supervisor Molino. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none carried.
That's all I have. Okay, Councilman, your plan?
Yes, I do have a few. Where do we stand with the emails for the town emails?
I reached out to Mike. I haven't heard back from him again, and I have to reach out to him tomorrow for some other stuff, so I'll revisit that again with him.
Okay,
Yeah, cause the senior center didn't get changed over either.
okay,
So, yeah.
all right. Also, I was at the Warren County Youth Board And they do have a few different fundings available for youth sports. If we can put that, I can send it to you in a GPAD for applications. They're due in September 1st, but if there's funds available for youth sports in Lake Luzerne. Okay, for funding on the website, if we can do that,
So we can apply for some.
we can,
money
yes.
for that.
Well, it can be,
That can help the school for next year.
it could help the school, it could help that club that was here, the affiliated with the Booster Club, any clubs.
That's why I mean, the booster club from the.
Yeah, for the summer youth, so that can help them also, but it's also for like the AAU programs or that's outside of the school. Okay, there's also New York State Sheriff's summer camp. This year, we did have quite a few students or youths that were going to the sheriff's camp. But next year, it would be great if we can get that on the website. It goes from ages 9 to 12. There's no cost to the students. Transportation, it's a week-long camp. And the website will, if I can go onto the website as well.
If you want
Yeah.
to send that to me.
I will. Yep. And then I did do the fundraiser for the New York Shape brick. There's also another fundraiser that has been going out that we're looking for different grants. Okay. And that is it.
Thank you, Amy. Councilman Hanlon.
Nothing to report this time.
Councilman Rao.
Yeah, just two short things. Did you have a chance to review the Compan contract? That's the playground. We passed the motion to authorize supervisor to enter that contract, and I think it should have attorney review. I should have added that to the motion.
Should we add upon attorney review?
What's the correct way to do that?
I mean, I don't think we have to overcomplicate it, just don't say that till you hear from me.
Yeah, okay.
I will make sure I don't.
Okay,
Just make sure it makes the minutes, okay? All right.
yeah.
I don't need a vote. I don't think, is it all right with everybody if I borrow two of the tables for the annual Lake Luzerne Association meeting at the park on Saturday?
For nominal fee.
I don't know how much you want.
Nominal fee.
I'm no lawns. I'm done.
No, there's no problem.
Okay, town clerk.
Okay, I gave you our monthly report, and our SW1 water district bills went out yesterday. And so that'll start coming in as well. And we're still collecting for SW2. We collect for both districts right through October 15th. And that's really all I have.
And no more problems with that broken one, right? No more crazy prices coming out.
We haven't, the quarter hasn't ended yet, but
That's SW2, yeah. We get a quarterly bill, so we won't, I mean, hopefully it'll be a lot less.
Okay.
Miss Attorney, you have anything?
I don't have anything other than what we discussed.
All right. The only thing I have, you all got this blue. This is for the health insurance for next year.
Oh,
We
that's it.
recommend that we put it up for at the agenda meeting 2 weeks from now. So we'll have him in here so we can go over it.
We just got over that.
Can we get a pass once in a while on that one?
That's the
Plan that's
Marshall and
going.
Sterling. That's the health insurance for the town employees.
Crazy.
I have one announcement. I forgot.
Yeah.
Tim just reminded me.
And I'll let you finish it. I got one more here.
The Lake Luzerne Association meeting, annual meeting is Saturday at 9 o'clock. And of course, the whole board's invited.
Saturday at 9, you said?
Yeah, Park.
Should be good weather, right?
This Saturday?
Yeah, Yeah, this Saturday, I have to watch the weather. I don't trust them anymore.
Looks good. Looks
You
like it should
can't
be
keep
okay.
up with the weather.
It's,
All right.
you know, it's under the pavilion.
You're done, sir.
Probably not. but-
Okay.
I'll give the microphone.
Only other thing I got now, we're gonna lose one person at the transfer station. Okay, we do have Zach Caldwell. He's a part-time employee at Buildings and Ground. And Rick would like to move him to full-time to replace the gentleman that's leaving.
And then make a motion.
Second.
Awesome.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 All right, now back,
Opposed, hearing none carried.
back to the, open to the public.
Sure.
Yes.
No,
Big numbers.
all right.
I just have a question, on the water, the cell tower. Or the cell service on the water tower, we have AT&T and we also have Verizon,
Right,
and that T-Mobile is looking to join.
right.
If I remember correctly, when we first put it on, we said there was only room for two. Do we have room for a third?
I can't answer that question. We pulled out the agreement today. Or yesterday. I haven't had a chance to read it.
Yeah, I haven't seen it, and I know what it looks like, but I
think they
think I
could put
remember.
more than one, but I'll look at it. That
Okay,
was done 10, 12 years ago,
thank you.
but I will check into that tomorrow. I hate to lose the money for it, but if it's in there, then we can't do them. Anybody else?
Yeah, well, so there we go.
Thank you. My name's Darian Miller. I own property at 10 Church Street. My daughter and grandchildren live there with her husband. It's the old Gardner house. Got a safety concern and health concern that I've been trying to deal with the enforcement officer here, and I did call Town Supervisor Merlino. And then I did talk to Board Member Hanlon, who did give me some did listen to me and invited me to the meeting tonight. So I put together a written request and notice that I'm giving to the board tonight, right now. So what we have is we have a surface water of sewage that is generating from a house on Main Street and coming over on a line on my property. I've got the documentation of how we know that from a professional. Did everything requested. I got a letter from the attorney from the town telling us that we had to have our sewer inspected and that we had to sue our neighbor under civil to get anything done. And I don't agree with that, and I got the documentation to show you why that it's up to you folks to enforce this. You guys have code enforcement, and I've really been kind of stonewalled here for about 1.5 years, and you know, I really like to get something done. We pay taxes in the town. Keep my daughter and her son-in-law keep the yard up well. They're good citizens. You know, and you know, I feel that the town needs to step up and enforce what they have for codes. Otherwise, get rid of them. So I got a little timeline here. Notified the town of concerns of surface sewage. Town officer and assistant came to the property to inspect it. My daughter called. They acknowledged the smell of the sewer. They told my daughter it was a civil matter between us and our neighbor. I contacted the town and received a letter from the town attorney stating it was a private matter, that you folks had talked about it at a board meeting. And it's not a town issue, that we need to have our septic inspected, which we did by IBS, and it was not full, and it was working correctly. Then I called Bradley Septic Service. He did a dye test on my house, the Blunt House on Main Street, the Earl House on Main Street, and used 3 different color dye. It's a well-practiced environmental process that will let you know where it's originating from. And only one was shown. And he went in personally, didn't pour them in each toilet at each house. And it proved that it was coming out of the Blunt House on Main Street. Nothing really got done. I contacted Mr. Doodle.
Just real quick, the Blunt House, is that little white one? Or
It's
the red one?
yellow, I believe.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
not the red one. It's the one
Big
that,
red one, no.
it's the one next to it.
A little, yeah,
Yeah, it's
what
yellow,
little house
yellow.
coming out there, okay.
I contacted Mr. Dool. He came down and met me on a Saturday. There's a stormwater manhole that's on the Earl property. He was looking at it. The manhole lid has welded beads on it, which is a practice of a lot of construction workers, DPW posts. And he noticed that the name on the top of the manhole had 2 town employees on it. He said this was put in a long time ago, and it looks like by the work it was done by the town. So it's a storm drain on private property that went over to where year-round water and sewer is. And Mr. Earl told me he used to poke the pipe to get it clean out, and it would run to the street, and then I assumed to the river, because that's where the manholes went. So then we turned the page. So anyway, as we were looking at that manhole, someone had put burlap bags, sandbags in to block that pipe from any water running off from the area that I'm talking about, the year-round water with sewage in it. The next page is just some of the diseases, as you can see, that can come from raw sewage. Why there's a health and safety ordinance in the town of Lake Luzerne that was enacted in February 14th of 1989. We don't need to go all over those. Also on the town website for Lake Luzerne, as you can see, I've highlighted the function of the zoning enforcement officer are provides a point of contact, report alleged zoning or sanitary violations. This is a sanitary violations. Next page shows the cover of the sanitary sewage disposal ordinance. And then if you look under section 4.010, continuation of pre-existing systems. It says that pre-existing individual sewage disposal system may be continued, but if you read what's in the red box, it really says that it has to be, the structure has to make sure it's not a threat to public health, safety, welfare, environmental quality, permits seepage of sewer water to ground surface, or interferes with the enjoyment of use of the property. So there's several points there that affects. There's surface water, sewer, water. There's unhealthy water next to my property and on my property, next to where my young grandchildren play. And the smell we actually get, my daughter can attest to this. People walk down that street, there's a fence there that Lake Luzerne put up, I believe, that has the name Lake Luzerne. And they say, my God, it smells like a sewer right here all the time when you're walking by, and that's 30 yards from it. So my point with this is that there is an ordinance that you need to make sure. The next page really shows Article 6, the enforcement, that the town board is the enforcer of any violations of the sanitary code. That there are penalties for that. And, you know, until something gets done. So, you know, really saying that it's a civil issue between me and my neighbor, it really is a town issue because we have a safety health violation in the sanitary code. So the next picture is a little busy, but I'd like to spend a little time on this. This is a shot from my cell phone from X-Hunt, which basically is a satellite picture of showing the property. So we'll start at the top in the yellow text box. Only fluorescent color dye to show upon the surface water was green. It was put in all 3 homes, different colors. So if you look to the left, I got the blue box. Blue dye was put in Mr. Earl's house. To the right, red was put in to our house. And green was put into the Blunt house. So then you'll see that the flooded in the spring area on the bottom green, I've got pictures on the next page, and green dye was all through it. It was very clear. And the professional opinion of Mr. Bradley, who's been doing this for 40 years, that it was coming out of the Blunt house. None from the red or from the blue. This was independent sanitary septic professional that did it. So the next page, he put it in on April 7th. On April 9th, You can see the green dye in the surface water on the Miller Blunt property. Right there, you can see the fluorescent green, but you can really see it, green dye and surface water on the Blunt property. So we're over there taking pictures. You can see the fluorescent green that's in that water. And it's coming right from the Blunt property and right down into adjacent to my property. The next picture shows, you can see the channel that's coming from the Blunt property. The interesting thing about this picture is, right, it's December and the water's not frozen. Why isn't the water frozen? Because it's sewage. It's warm. And if you look, so if you look basically to the northeast going up, melted snow on the Blunt property. So that whole ground is warm from sewage that's running down into this property. So year round, we have water there that has sewage in it. I didn't have it tested for chloroform or E. coli. I can do that. I can have a lab do it independently, but I think doing the dye test, having our septic system tested, proved out that it's not our issue and it's coming from the Blunt property. So my request, so, you know, what outcome do we want from the town board as taxpayers in the town of Luzerne on this issue? Sanitary sewage on the surface on and adjacent to our property on Church Street remedied by order of the town board. I want to be treated but with respect as a taxpayer in the town. And the town board that is working to help residents rather than building a defense strategy on issues, which I feel that's what happened with this issue, except for Mr. Hanlon, who was very courteous to me. So I think that if you look at the evidence, you know, we did our due diligence. We went above and beyond, quite honestly. And, you know, I've got young grandchildren and my daughter babysits a lot of teachers' kids. And it's sad that they can't go out back without smelling sewage. And, you know, we were basically stonewalled and not treated with respect on an issue that I think we did our due diligence. We didn't do anything wrong. We proved we didn't. We have a neighbor who has a problem. If this was my problem, I would take care of it. It's not my problem. The only problem is it's coming from somebody else's problem. And everybody in the town of Luzerne really has not stepped up and done their job, as far as I'm concerned, to take care of this issue. So I'm asking you in writing notice, as I'm supposed to, that something needs to get done here, because if nothing is going to get done, it's not my neighbor that I'm going to sue. I can tell you that. So we need something done. I'm not threatening. I'm just saying, I don't think we've been treated fairly, and I think we've been stonewalled, and I've got the proof right here, and you can talk to Mr. Bradley, but you can see the pictures. I don't think anybody up there would like to have that in their backyards, knowing that you could smell it from 30 yards away. And we know it's got fecal matter in it because the green dye was put in the toilet in the Blunt house. So I'm really like to have some feedback.
Well, I thank you for this. This is definitely, you put a lot of effort in it. And I think we'll have to get together and do what's got to be done. But if it's coming from the Blunt house, we'll have to speak to them too. But give us a little time.
Yeah, that's the issue. If it's coming from the Blunt house, it has to be dealt with. I mean, you have the right to enjoy your property,
Right.
period.
So what was their response to this info?
Well, during this time, Mrs. Blunt is very old. I think she's in her 90s, and her husband was going through dementia and Alzheimer's at the time. So she had a lot on her plate. She's confused now, thinking that it's our issue. And it's not. You could walk out there right now and that her whole backyard is spongy. You know, I heard that I don't want to make assumptions, but I heard that there's old dry wells there. The thing that concerns me is there was a pipe put in for that year-round wet area by the town to drain it off, to run to the storm drain, which runs to the river. So that's concerning. So now there's sandbags in there to stop it. Thus, probably why we're having continued water around the, and, the water table's gotta be high there. And if they're dry wells, they're full all the time and she doesn't have a leach field, there's only one place it can go, up and out.
Do you enforce codes in your village?
Excuse me?
Do you enforce the codes in your village?
Okay, first of all,
It's a yes or no. I
First of
wanna
all, I'm
make
not-
sure you understand.
no,
the
I'm not gonna
process.
answer that, and I don't appreciate that question because I'm not here as the mayor. I'm here, hold on, I'm here as a
No, I
taxpayer.
don't think you understand the process.
I don't care about the process. I know what's in writing. I know what's in writing to enforce this. You're telling me that if I build a new house in the town of Lake Luzerne, I don't have to go by the standards for sanitary.
I'm not saying that
Then why would you ask me about the village of Corinth?
because a justice court can only find them.
Yeah, so you can find $250 every day.
Okay, that doesn't require that they fix the issue. So you're gonna have a judgment against this 90-year-old woman. She's not gonna be able to pay it and she's not gonna fix her system. So that doesn't work. I mean, if that's what you're looking for, then the board can do it. They can
You're-
levy this judgment. The court cannot order her to fix this.
So, right.
So I'm
what-
asking as the mayor, I would
I'm
assume you
not
understand.
answering as the mayor. I'm here as a taxpayer of the town of Luzerne.
So
And
what is your solution? What
the
do you-
solution is that town needs to go to her and say, this is what's happening. You're polluting, you're breaking our code. There's not anywhere in New York State that you can have sewage on the surface of if you had it in your front yard from your neighbor, how long would you put up with it?
My only point is if you want it fixed, that's why we're telling you, you have to sue her in Supreme Court. A justice court can only fine her.
But you haven't done your part yet.
Okay, so if the board wants.
As usual,
This-
I'm getting a defense instead of
I'd be
trying
happy
to
to
solve
go to
it.
court. You are gonna have a judgment against a 90-year-old woman for how much?
Why are you saying a 90-year-old woman?
Didn't you just say she was?
Yeah, but what part of that do you need to bring that up to make me feel bad about doing
Because you're
it?
not remedying the issue.
It's not my job to remedy, it's your job.
Okay, I'll take her to justice court.
It's not you, you're not an elected official.
Well, they don't make that choice. They don't make that choice.
Oh, they don't make a choice to go to
No.
sue?
To
Right,
justice
yes, they
court.
do.
You clearly don't understand the process, which is concerning as an elected official.
It's sad that you're building a defense about something that we're innocent in. That we didn't get any support from the code enforcement officer or the supervisor. When I talked to him, and now. When I bring it to you and I've done my due diligence, we've done everything we've had. And now you're saying, well, that's too bad. Why don't you just sell the house? But you gotta put up with it, but she's 90 and we can't do anything about it.
It's not what I said. I said you should bring a civil action to have the Supreme Court order her to fix it.
Why should I have to do that?
Because the town doesn't have that jurisdiction. We can go to justice court where they can fine her. They can't tell her to fix it. That's all I'm saying to you.
Okay, so let me ask you, if there's a house on Lake Luzerne right now that's running sewage into the lake, you're saying the town has no right, all they can do is fine them $250 a day?
I'm not saying that. It depends on the circumstances.
Oh,
It
okay.
depends on when they got a permit. It depends on when they put the septic system in. I'm saying if you're looking for an actual fix to the problem, we can't do that. We can go to court, we can.
And you haven't tried yet. Right? All you've done is send a letter to me to try to stonewall me to hopefully that I don't come back and have a problem. And I did what I was asked to do.
I'm
And I-
not stonewalling you, I'm giving you a solution.
That's not a solution. I've got to spend money to get a lawyer to go to Supreme Court to sue my neighbor because she's not in code in the town, which you guys enforce, which I put in writing. I gave you copies of it. That's your job. That's not your job. That's their job.
I think what she's saying is even if we do, what you're saying is our job, which I agree with you. Okay, if it was up to me, I would make the motion that we go ahead and find the woman to try to get her. But that's still not gonna make her fix the issue.
Right.
We only have a certain amount of authority according to our attorney, which I have to trust because I don't know.
I
do.
understand.
Okay, so I agree, it's her problem, she should fix it, okay? But according to our attorney, we only have a certain amount of authority to do so. So in our case, I would say yes, I will make that motion to go move forward with enforcement of it. But I don't think that's gonna necessarily solve the problem. Maybe it will, maybe that'll give her the, motivation to do it.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you. I really believe if the town went to her and told her, you're the reason for this, that she will do what she needs to get done.
Well, I for one am willing to take that step, and hopefully in your case that is.
No, that's all, that's why I'm here.
Yeah.
You know, for you guys to do what's in the right of the law.
Can somebody maybe refresh my memory? Just came up a year and a half ago, I'm gonna say. I don't even know if it was you, to be honest with you, we suggested that an independent consultant, I'm not quite sure about the wording, consultant would do a report for us so that we got information that we knew was not biased. And that's where I remember it dying. Does any?
The last action that the town board took was that it was determined that it was an issue between neighbors, it was a civil issue, and that the town board was not going to act on it any further. That was the last
Right.
that was done.
And I do remember we did ask about the dye test, which this is exactly what we had asked for, but this is the first time I'm seeing it.
Well, what you asked for in a letter from your attorney was for us to have our septic system inspected to make sure it wasn't coming from us, and we did that.
And you did. You
Yeah.
did your
And
due
then,
diligence.
and then I even took it further. Dealing with waste treatments and, you know. A lot of stuff, know that we do dye tests to find out what the original. Origin of it is,
Mhm.
and so I called Bill Bradley and asked him if he'd come up and do it. And I was willing to pay him to do it, he wouldn't take any money. I said, you know, and we talked to the neighbors and they all agreed that they would they would let him do the independent dye test. And to add to that, I actually brought more dye from my employer and doubled it in ours, so. On
Does,
video,
does the Blunt property owner know what the outcome was?
well, I'm not sure. I'm not sure, I think she's confused. Because she's mentioned to my daughter that when she sees her at the Lake Luzerne market, that we hope you get that taken care of.
Have you asked her to fix hers if you think that that
I
is?
think the town
problem?
board needs to ask her. Why should I ask her?
I
Can
can't
we
answer
ask
that
her?
at this point?
Can we ask her? Mary, I'm asking.
I mean, you can, I mean, he's submitting all the evidence,
Mhm.
so that's not stuff done by the town, so I wouldn't be real comfortable going to her and saying this is your problem. But if you feel comfortable with his evidence, then go ahead.
But the last I remember, I mean, this is what had asked for. We wanted to know where it was coming
Yeah.
from. There was a problem,
And I don't remember hearing nothing since then.
and that was the last.
I'm a little concerned about.
Yeah,
I
we don't like
think
to.
the last action.
I'm a
was
little
that-
concerned about.
The last action was,
About being told us that we stonewalled you.
well, the last action was that the town board decided that it was a civil issue and that you were not going to act on it.
But I know at some point, we suggested to somebody.
We
That
did start that process and then we
Chris and
decided
I went down there and went sniffing around on the ground, sniffing on the manholes and
just
stuff.
on stuff, yes, but again, at some point you made the decision to stop and it was going to be considered a civil issue. And my office did no more at that point.
No, not Main Street. They're talking, it's down the
Sure.
middle, I'm sure, yeah.
Yeah. Whatever.
I have been in contact with Ms. Putney. I have it, and she'll tell you, I've been in contact with her.
Yes.
I've talked to her about where we stood with it. And I tried calling the supervisor 3 times.
I just wondered if you had asked the neighbor if she would fix it. That was
So Bill was there when?
April 7th,
We saw it
last year,
someplace.
oh, correct?
24.
So
Yes, we did ask her several times.
My daughter Laramie Teresa.
I
she
live in the
lives in
residence. We've asked her several times when her husband was alive, when her husband passed. We've asked her children. She has a son and a daughter that visit her. And they have no intention at this point that they've conveyed to us.
No
Also
attention to what?
to fix it, to rectify it. What's her name, Mrs. Putney?
That's me.
Oh,
Yeah.
the zoning.
That's me.
Okay, so when I spoke with you, you told me there were 2 dry wells there and an old building that used to be there that they say was a garage. And you told me in person this, when you came to my house, that you thought maybe that was why it was backing up or why her septic wasn't draining.
But this was before you had any of those tests done.
This was before and after, when I called you on the phone. Also, when the town flushes the hydrants near the library, it back flushes into that manhole that's on the property, Earl's property, showing that septic coming from her property goes through there and goes to the other drain and goes to the river.
if it wasn't plugged.
If it wasn't plugged, but it smells like septic when you go there, it smells like septic. And to add, just as Lake Luzerne residents and officials that want the best for the town, all of the time, there are visitors and tourists that come that recognize the smell and point it out to us. There's a little red house that's being rented by a Texas couple, and they've pointed it out. People at the market pointed out, people at the library pointed out, teachers pointed out. Everybody in town knows about this and doesn't understand why nothing is being done. There are people that work for the village, I don't know them by name, that work on the grounds that have pointed it out to me and said something to me that this is not okay. This is going into the sewer. This is going into the river. So just to be a good person, it might be worth it to approach her as officials of the town to say, this is not okay. You cannot continue this way. I know she's in her 90s, but still, it's not safe. It's not safe for anybody to be anywhere near it. And I
Did
don't-
Mr. Bradley write up a report?
He did not. No, but I'm sure if you called him, he conferred. Everything on here is the truth. He was here.
He's a good guy. I like him.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's hooked up my tank.
and
I
he was trying to help the situation.
Yeah.
And at that time, I know Mrs. Blunt was going through a tough time with her husband. So there was some sensitivity on our side and his to try to.
Yeah. Be a good
be
guy.
kind, yeah.
Yeah.
But the thing is, all I'm asking is the town to do their job, because they have an ordinance that's been in there since '89. Right? We got the proof that there's an issue, that there's a violation. And, the town official, whoever it is, needs to say, hey, this is what we have, this is what we know. You need to fix it.
Can you get a brief report from Bill?
I can try.
I know he, to me.
I mean,
Doesn't seem like the kind of guy that sits and types a lot of stuff.
Here's the thing for me, though. I mean, at what point is it my responsibility to make sure the town is a health and safety safe place, when you have rules that say this is what you need to do? When does the town step up and do this? When they know that there's a violation?
But that's why I was kind of wondering if we can get a report.
Yeah, I mean, I think the town should call them. I know what I would do if I was on the town board. I would call them and say, hey, we pay taxes, my daughter likes living there. They're part of the community. And we put up with it for quite a while. And unfortunately, when you're elected officials, sometimes things aren't always pleasant. This is part of it, It's not our responsibility anymore. It's a town. We've proven where it's coming from. We have independent person that told us. We even did what the letter from the attorney said. We inspected we had IBS come over. Ivan inspected it, said, you're fine. So it's not coming from there. We know because the leach field goes the other way. So, I don't know why there's a big discussion. If this was right out here in front of this building and that neighbor was running sewer on top of it, I'll bet you someone from here would walk over and say something to him. And that's where, I mean, that's how you guys should be treating your taxpayer and your residents.
I don't believe that even if we got the report from Mr. Bradley, although I trust him, he's a good guy, that would necessarily give us the standing because it wasn't a test that we.
Right.
Right. So in order to actually go to the Blunt House and issue a citation for lack of a better, we'd have to get our own dye test done.
Get your own inspection done, yes.
Inspection done. Okay.
I think what we've done here is way above what a resident needed to do, in my opinion.
I agree with you.
But the reason I did it, because I know how it goes. I know how things roll. I know how attorneys talk. I know how they do things. I ran a paper mill. I've been in the paper business for 48 years. I ran a mill in South Falls. I was there 43 years. So I know environmental. I know a lot about business. And I knew it was going to roll this way. That's why I came prepared. Now the onus is on you folks. That's the way I see it. Not being disrespectful, but nobody from the town has stepped up to help us. And now we need help. We want the town to do it because we pay taxes. So that's why you're elected official.
I just want to say, this is the first time I've seen a report like this. First time. By the way, my college degree is in environmental science. So I have an innate responsibility to the environment. If I'd seen this report a year and a half ago, it would be different.
I was trying to go through the due process of
Well, I
making the right
understand.
call.
I don't appreciate the accusation of being stonewalled.
Well, and it wasn't you, sir, but I can tell you it was somebody else.
I think he's talking about me, like you guys.
No, I'm not. I'm not
No,
talking
no,
about
I'm talking about me because I got my information from you, so you told me it was not our problem. Now it's our
All right, you know
problem,
it's our
and
problem.
we're gonna get it solved.
Okay.
So do we have a timeline and when you're gonna get back to me on what you're gonna do?
No,
Oh, not
as
yet.
fast as we can.
Okay.
I'll call Bill Bradley.
Yeah. I'll take care of it.
But I agree with Dane that
I don't think
the
that's-
report was not commissioned by us.
So Jim, how are we gonna get Bill Bradley onto her property?
I'm just gonna ask him to write a report for us.
On what?
That's not a report
That's not a report I can
Authorized.
submit to a court. You need to get a warrant to go on her property and have him do the inspection.
Unless you're asking her to go on the property,
Our judges,
You call him, would you?
right?
Ask him to write up a report.
I'll call Bill.
A
You know.
report that I'm gonna say what?
Well, but the point is.
It's not a official report.
all right, there's no sense arguing about it, but we're gonna get it.
At this point, I'm not.
Since that we can't.
I'm not gonna, I just wanna see what the report says.
We've heard this for years, and we keep hearing, not our problem, not our problem, not our problem. Well, goddamn, it is our problem, and I'm gonna take care of it. And if you don't agree with me, I'll get sued, that's fine. But you advise us, you advise me, it's not our problem, stay away from it. Well, I did. Now I'm getting the wrath from the citizen. We gotta do something. We do. We gotta do something.
I'm a little
You keep
frustrated.
telling me it's not our problem, not our problem, and that's the way I walk away with it. But now, listening to the gentleman, I wouldn't want to live in that house next that he has.
If you don't respect my opinion, I will leave here. Do not talk to me that way.
Well, you keep.
I
telling
think
me-
we're yelling at the wrong people here. I think. We just. No, that.
So this point, fairly easy to get a hold of. You guys have contact information.
Usually on the front porch, you
She
know,
lives there. She's actively there. Okay.
she's at the library and all over.
Why don't we start with one of us going down there and asking if we can have someone come in and run a test. They'll let you guys do it, right? Once. Start there. Okay. But at least that's a start.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Did I ask, about moving that Zach, Cordwell full-time?
Yeah, we did that.
Yeah.
You did.
You got all your stuff done?
I'm finished.
Way up.
So, a motion to adjourn, anybody else have anything? Need a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion to adjourn.
A second.
All in favor?